In my last Speakdom, which was about dealing with criticism and things like that, I was looking through the comment section because I really do read the comments. I don't have time to respond to everybody, but I do skim it down on, my tablet or whatever. And I received a comment from a subscriber named Byron Noble, and he said, Geekdom, what about a video talking about dealing with change in his or her life? Now, I haven't actually asked for requests to do topics on things like this, but I would not mind taking requests. I don't know if I can do a video on everything, but I would like Byron to kind of have given me a little bit more information on what he means by change, but I figure why not address it here on this video. So, dealing with change in his or her life. I think what he's talking about is how do you deal with things happening in your life that are sudden and all of a sudden you don't know how to handle it. Well, what's interesting about us as people, what I think is fascinating is that we are very resilient as people. We really are as a human race. Our emotions are very, very resilient. Let me explain what I mean. What I mean is this. When something bad happens to you, it sucks. And bad stuff happens to everybody. Bad stuff happens to good people. Bad stuff happens to bad people. But when you really think beyond that, you have to realize that everybody on earth is good and bad. Now, there are people on earth who are bad. Like, there are people on earth who are legitimately, like, they do bad things. They victimize people, they lie, obviously. Then there's good people who end up doing some of those bad things. And then there's bad people sometimes do things that they think are good, but they're actually bad. Now, as far as the dealing with change thing goes and why this all relates is because one of the things that will help you live a better life is if you brace yourself for bad things happening. It's very difficult to understand when you first hear this, but hear me out for a second. Bad shit's going to happen. Change is going to happen. I'm using the word bad, but it might be good change as well. But see, here's the thing. Here's some psychology for you. If the change is good, you're not going to complain about it. You're going to deal with it. If you get a promotion at a job, and you get paid more money and you're ready for it, you're going to be happy. If you get a girlfriend you've been chasing for a couple months, or whatever, you're going to be happy. If you finally accomplish something and get hired somewhere, or you move and improve your life, you're going to get happy. We're talking about change in the negative aspect. One of the tricks is you have to kind of, it takes years to really develop this. You have to brace yourself for bad things happening. In other words, you have to tell yourself every day, okay, don't be paranoid about it though. Let me make that clear. You don't want to be paranoid, but you want to tell yourself, okay, if something bad happens, it's going to happen and it's going to pass. I talked about it on the old Speakdom on my old channel. Well, it's not really an old channel, my other channel. It's an old video on my other channel on Geekdom 101 about how pain is like a timeline, right? And if you feel pain at this moment, on January 25th, 2017, that same pain you're not going to feel at January 25th, 2018. You're not going to feel it, most likely. You're not. I mean, unless it's terminal illness. Let's say you get your heart broken. That could hurt for a while. Or you lose a parent, you lose a relative, you lose a pet. That's going to hurt for a while. But when it comes to smaller things than that, you're not going to end up feeling the same pain. You'll forget about it. So you have to always remember, always remember that pain is temporary. And change can be very sudden, and that's what really hits you. Like, let's pretend that you are, let's pretend that you have a sick mom, all right? This is going to be a little dark, but follow me. And your mom is sick, and you are told by the doctors, your mom only has 2 months left to live, which actually happened to me, right? And she passes away after the 2 months. That didn't happen to me. It was very different for me. But, so, it's different than if you are living your life and all of a sudden you get a phone call and they say, dude, your mom passed away. Because it's the more suddenness of it, the shock value. The shock value is what really hurts about change. Like, let's say you have a job. Let's say you get a final written warning at your job, right? Let's say that's what happens to you. And you already know you're about to go out the door. Like, in the back of your head, you can sense it. You can feel it. They're going to get rid of me, right? They're going to get rid of me. As a human, as a survivor, you already sort of, in the back of your head, know it's coming, even though you might lie to yourself, because that's another thing you got to be careful with, you know what I mean? You might lie to yourself, you might, try to convince yourself, oh, it's going to be all right, and it is going to be all right. I will tell you, it is going to be all right. I assure you of that. But you could sit there, you could lie to yourself, or you could actually say, you know what? Let me get my resume ready. Let me make some phone calls. Let me get ready for the event, for the inevitable disaster. Then if you don't get fired, it's cool. You're still ready. But if you do get fired, it's not going to hurt as much because you already have plan B. Having a plan B is one of the most important things I think that I can tell everybody listening to this that you should have. Having a plan B, I think, is crucial in life when it comes to your career, when it comes to whatever you want to do. I know a lot of guys get into YouTube and they want to blow the fuck up and they want to have this YouTube career, but then they don't have an education. So when their channel dies, or when they end up having a copyright issue, or something happens to hurt their success, or they just, whatever they're into just dies out and their channel just dies. I mean, it happens all the time. They don't make the kind of money they used to. Then they worry about paying bills, and they don't have anything to fall back on. They don't have any degrees. And I did a whole video about it before, about getting educated. You got to have a plan B. So if you want to go in there and start up a business, if you want to go in there and start doing YouTube or Twitch or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, make sure you have some kind of degree to fall back on, so that if you fail, you still have something there, you know what I mean, that you can have to at least eat. You know, so you can get a job and eat while you build up your empire again. That's really how you do it. And that all goes back to the original topic, which is dealing with change. Because I'm presuming this man's talking about something that's bad when it comes to change. If the change is one that you're expecting, it's not so bad. Even if you're dreading it, it's not so bad. It's the shocking pain that hits you. But remember, the shocking change, I mean. But remember what I said. Anything that's painful is temporary. Pain is always temporary. So if you have in your head, if you're always thinking, okay, something bad happened. Let's say what's bad? Let's say that you, you cut yourself. So you have a cut on your arm. It's going to heal. You see what I'm saying? It's going to heal. So if you think about the cut healing and you just keep living your life, you'll eventually get over it. Or if you get rejected, I've talked about that before. You know, getting rejected sucks, but you have to remember that the pain that you're dealing with now is not always going to be there. You know, it's just not going to always be there, because human beings, bro, us as emotional creatures, we're like a rubber band. We're like elastic, right? You stretch a rubber band out, which is when the pain comes in, but eventually that rubber band starts to come back together, right? And it forms back into its original shape. You know, unless you break it. But you see my point here. So when it comes to dealing with change, the best thing to do is be ready for it if you suspect it, even in the slightest. And remember, if something hits you, just brace yourself and just think, hey, you know, this sucks. I'm not saying that you don't have the right to be upset or you don't have the right to mourn. But if you're better prepared and you understand that life sometimes is not fair, like if you actually really think about things and understand that life is actually not fair sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, because we all get breaks too. That's another one that I might do a video on, is how life gives you breaks. You know, if you remember that, it's going to make the impact easier. It's kind of like when they say roll with the punches. You know, if you're a professional athlete, say you're a professional combat sports athlete, like a boxer, if you're in the gym and you're getting hit, right, if you're getting hit in the face all the time, when you step into the ring, it's going to be like nothing. You're going to be used to it. Whereas the ones that hurt are the surprising hits. You know, one of the tricks of fighting is that if you get nailed, right, if you get rocked, it's usually from a blow that you were not expecting, right? That's how life is. It's a metaphor for life. Something unexpected happens that is going to create a change. You know, it's going to hurt more than if you're expecting it. So the trick is expect everything, you know, as weird as that might be. You know, and obviously if something bad happens, you're going to go through that time where you're going to be pissed and you're going to be feeling like life is unfair and you're going to be feeling all these things, which again, all that's normal. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. But if you just sit there for a second, think, just stop and think and say, okay, I just got into a car accident, or I just got fired, or whatever, you know, what do I need to do to get better? What do I need to do to get back on my horse? You fall off the horse, get the fuck back on it. What do I need to do? Well, I got to get my resume out there. I got to make phone calls. I got to do it like a cyborg, become a robot. For the car accident, I got to go to the dealership. I got to get a quote. I got to, how much money do I need to buy another car? If that's what you need to do. You got to really sit down. And then the most important thing is you sit down and you tell yourself, okay, this sucks, but in a year or in 2 years, I'm going to have a new car. I'm going to have a new job. I know I am, because life always gives that back to you. And this all comes from, like, experience, because I know a lot of folks watching this are, like, young and they haven't really had shit happen to them yet. When you have a lot of bad shit happen to you, you just kind of accept it. Like, all right, this is how it is. What can we do to improve? And then you go and you improve it, you know. And that's the best thing I can tell you about dealing with change. And of course, we're talking about negative change. Positive change, man, I don't even know what to tell you, because positive change is a good thing. If you buy a big ass house, yeah, it's gonna suck that you gotta move everything, and you know, I know the feeling of unboxing and boxing shit, you know, but it's a good change, because you know that when you move everything, you're gonna have that new house, you're gonna feel nice, you're gonna smile, and it's gonna make your life better. So that's what I have for you. I hope this video helped you out when it came to dealing with change. And if you're going to suggest a topic, give me as much information as you can. You know, make it a little bit more, I guess, specific, and I'll cover it. Anyways, remember to have a great day. And if you're not having a great day, tomorrow will be better, which is my whole motto here with this whole thing. Life is a timeline. Today might suck, but there's always tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. And even though bad stuff happens to good people, good stuff happens to good people too. Never forget that. Never, ever, ever forget that. I'll see you later.